Welcome to the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage, where rude mechanicals do magic. Hello, I'm Bronze Age, Director of the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery Salvage. And today I'm halfway between the BF bench and the lamp bench because we're going to make a lamp out of this big pot, and that's a bi-bench operation. This is your classic pot. Unlike most ceramics in the 21st century, it's strictly decorative. No function to it at all. The inside is not glazed, the outside is not glazed. A very skilled potter made this, and they intentionally left these ribs on the outside, and then they splashed it with mud so it would look like a slightly less skilled potter had put it together. But like again, this is strictly for ornament, and we're going to make it just a little more functional by making it into a lamp. The customer has chosen this side to be facing forward, which means the hole for the cord is going to be on the bottom back here. Now, one thing about when you're drilling holes in ceramics or glass to make lamps, always drill the hole first. Because if you break the thing, well, you've saved yourself a lot of work. Now that brings us to the Packard 12-speed precision drill press, where I've made this cradle to hold the jug in position so that we can safely drill it. The cradle's purpose is to keep the jug from rocking back and forth while I'm drilling. And that's critical, because I wasn't really making a joke about that breaking the pot or the glass. Because while it's fairly easy to drill straight down, good even pressure, if the drill bit goes crooked, slightly off angle, or gets in a bind, it's very easy for a crack to appear and this whole thing just comes apart right here in your hands. Now the bit we're using is a diamond core bit. It's called a core bit because the inside of it is hollow. And it's called a diamond bit because it's got little tiny diamond chips that are glued to the face here. Diamonds are pretty tough, but the glue that holds diamonds on is not so tough. And in order to keep them adhered to the steel, you've got to keep them cool, and that means keeping them wet. So I'll make this little dam around where I'm going to drill and fill it with water. I want to make sure it doesn't leak because this is a slow process, and you don't want this little well running dry while you're halfway through. So got a 1/2-inch diamond core bit going into ceramic. Going to be turning right around 3600 RPM. Going to go slow up and down. Once it starts cutting the groove, I want to raise the bit and let the water run in there and wash out the dust. Because this is not making chips like a regular drill bit. It is actually grinding its way through the clay, making a fine particles, whatever you want to. It's going to make this thing kind of muddy and not much to see after that, but you just go slow and go sure. Now I have to decide how I'm going to put this together and make a lamp. It's going to look like this. This big base cap is just thin sheet metal, so I can't put a lot of pressure on it and pull down on it to keep it tight because it's just going to crumple. So my usual method here is to make a round piece in the middle, a piece on the top, and a piece underneath. Tighten them all down together, clamp it in place, and that'll give me a foundation that'll hold this up when I get everything tight. Now the neck is not perfectly round, but it appears to be pretty close to 8 all the way around. So this piece here will do just fine because I don't have to have a full 360 all the way around, and these gaps on the sides will actually come in handy. Now it's close. close, and this is going to have to be trimmed to fit. So what I've done is mark the front here so I can keep this lined up, and make some marks here where it's touching the neck, and take a trip over to the belt sander and trim it to size. What I want is an easy slip fit, but not allowing too much wiggle. The top piece has to be a little bit more precise because it's going to support the rim of the base cap. Now I've got it cut to shape, and on the belt sander I beveled over the edges so that when it goes in it'll be nice and flat and flush and look like it's touching the top of the jug, but there really won't be much metal to clay contact. Now I've got holes drilled in both pieces and just a couple screws. We'll keep it lined up. Little sleeve here which will support the top, and that's what it's going to look like when we're done. Now I have to figure out some way to keep this in the jug. These little ears are going to go right here, and now the geometry gets a little complicated because they've got to fold in like that till I put it in, then I move them back around. Now there's one last trick. Got to drill a second hole right about here. Now the purpose of that little hole is that I can drop this in, rotate the ear out, drop a nail down in there, and I can tighten this down and everything's going to be nice and snug. Now we're back at the lamp bench. The first thing I'm going to do is take care of the cord protection at this hole. That's going to be a short pipe with a cord protector on each end, and to make sure that it doesn't rattle or ever come loose, it's going to get a little dab of clear silicone. Once that cures, it'll be nice and snug. If I could find the hole here. Getting so close. There we go. Alright, now we can get on with wiring the lamp. Now's the time to run the cord, because if you wait till later, it's going to get very inconvenient. Now we come to the fun part, which is putting all this stuff together. I always put blue thread lock on any threaded fasteners because this hardware is fairly lightweight, and you really can't tighten it tight enough just with mechanical force to keep it from coming loose, because all the pieces like this wood and the sheet metal parts, they just too easily deflect. Put a cord protector here on the bottom. And then tighten this down. Get that nice and snug. Always important to keep things in order, and running the cord through the pipe is definitely the first thing you want to do. Get my marks lined up. Rotate these until the nail falls in, and I just tighten them down. And this is solid, and it's not going to come out. Now this little nut here is a little bit of overkill, but I don't want to have this little neck being the only thing holding it down and keeping it from rattling. Now, when you're using this kind of a socket, the captured ring, always remember to put the ring on, because you can't put it on afterwards. And there's a little set screw in the back here. I tighten it down when I've got my socket with the key pointed forward. Now we come to the part that I repeat in every lamp wiring video, because these few steps are the things that make the difference between a good lamp job and a poor one. It starts off with this little pretzel knot called the underwriter's knot, and its purpose is so that if someone walks through the room and it's dark and they trip over the cord, this knot will prevent the wires from being pulled out from underneath the screws. If that happens, then you've got two live wires inside of a pipe with a lot of metal on it, and if this were a regular lamp with a steel body and that sort of thing, you go to pick it up, you're going to get shocked. So that is a critical part right there, and it's something you see left off of a lot of lamps, because some people just don't think it's either worth the trouble or they just don't understand. Second thing is, lamp cord sold in North America, these two wires inside insulation. One side is smooth, one side has ridges. If you can't see it, you can feel them. And the reason for that is that your socket has two screws. One is silver and one is brass colored. And it's very important because the smooth wire will go under the brass colored screw. You wrap it around clockwise so that when you tighten it down, it pulls the wire under the screw instead of pushing it out. And the wire with the ridges goes under the silver screw. Get it tucked underneath there, and then tighten it down. Now this is a safety measure. This wire with the silver screw goes to the shell. In electrician talk, it's known as the neutral wire. The one that goes to the brass screw is known as the hot wire. it goes to the center terminal here down in the bottom of the socket. The silver screw goes to the shell. Reason for this is, if you walk into a room, it's dark, you manage to not trip over the cord and yank the lamp off the table. If you go in to turn on the light and there's no bulb here, if you accidentally touch the socket, you won't get shocked. You would actually have to stick your finger all the way down in the socket, the lamp be plugged in and turned on before you get a shock. I don't know how often that actually happens, but that is the way we dealt with the problem here in North America. Now I just have to get this ring started. And this job is pretty much finished. Here at the lab, we believe anything could be a lamp. I've made lamps out of everything from golf bags to sewing machines. And this was not one of the most challenging, but it does require some special techniques to get it together to where it's not going to come apart in use and be safe to use at someone's house. So, this is Bronze Age, the Secret Underground Laboratory Recovery and Salvage. Thank you for sitting through this video. We'd really appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please do that now. Comments and questions are always welcome. I answer all comments and I answer all questions as best I can. And again, thank you for watching.